I, 40F, have 3 kids, a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, and a 7-year-old son. Recently, they've been arguing a lot and ignoring my rules about chores and screen time. It's been really frustrating, and I feel like they don't take me seriously anymore. Last week, after a particularly chaotic day, I told them it was time to do their chores and that screen time would be limited until those were completed. Instead of listening, they started fighting over the remote and completely disregarded me. After multiple warnings, I felt like I had no choice but to take drastic action. I decided to lock them out of the house for an hour. I told them that they needed to calm down and think about their behavior. I figured this would teach them a lesson about respecting authority and the importance of following rules. I stayed inside, monitoring them through the window while they played in the yard, which is completely safe and enclosed. After a half an hour I decided to take a bubble bath as I deserved it, and it was only 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so it wasn't super cold, especially for Ontario standards. When the hour was up, I let them back in. They were upset and angry, and my daughter yelled that I was a terrible mom for locking them out. My friends and family have mixed opinions. Some think I went too far and that locking kids out is inappropriate, while others believe it was a necessary lesson in discipline. Now I'm feeling conflicted. I wanted to teach them a lesson, but I also don't want them to feel unsafe or unloved. So, AITA for locking my kids out of the house for an hour as punishment.
I, 27F, have a close friend, Laura, 28F, who recently got engaged. Laura has always dreamed of a fairy tale wedding and has been planning every detail since she was a kid. I was excited for her and offered my help, especially since I have experience in event planning. As we started discussing her wedding, I noticed some of her ideas were quite extravagant. For example, she wanted to hire a luxury venue, a famous photographer, and even a live band that charges a fortune. I expressed my concerns about her budget, suggesting she consider more affordable options to avoid financial strain, especially since she and her fiancé are still paying off student loans. Laura brushed off my concerns and said, "It's my wedding. I want it to be perfect." I felt a little dismissed, but I let it go, thinking she would figure it out. A couple of months later, she sent out save the dates, and I was shocked to see the cost per plate was over $200. She even mentioned wanting to host a destination wedding, which would require guests to travel and spend even more money. I felt uncomfortable with the financial burden this would place on her friends and family. After talking to a few mutual friends, I decided to have a heart-to-heart with Laura. I told her I loved her and wanted her to have a beautiful wedding, but I was genuinely worried about her decisions. I mentioned that it might be better to plan something that wouldn't put such a strain on their finances or their guests. Laura didn't take it well. She accused me of trying to ruin her dreams and said I was jealous because I wasn't engaged. I was taken aback. I tried to explain that I was coming from a place of love and concern, but she wouldn't hear it. She ended the conversation by saying she didn't want to discuss it anymore. A week later, I received an invitation to her bridal shower, but I hesitated to respond. I felt like I had crossed a line by bringing up my concerns, and I wasn't sure if I should attend. I ended up texting her to say I wouldn't be coming, citing that I felt unwelcome after our last conversation. She was furious and called me, saying I was being dramatic and selfish. She claimed I was trying to make her feel bad for wanting a wedding she had always dreamed of. Now, our mutual friends are divided. Some think I was right to voice my concerns, while others believe I should have kept quiet. I'm heartbroken over the potential fallout of our friendship. I genuinely care for her and want her to be happy, but I also feel that honesty is important. Am I the arsehole for confronting her about her wedding plans?
AITA for refusing to pay for my friend's wedding after he uninvited me. I, 28M, have a close friend, Jake, 29M, who recently got engaged. I was excited for him and offered to help out with planning his wedding. I even volunteered to be the best man. A few weeks ago, Jake decided to cut down his guest list due to budget constraints. He called me and said he had to uninvite some people, including me. I was shocked and hurt, especially since I had already put a lot of effort into planning his bachelor party and other events. I tried to understand, but it felt like I was being brushed aside. After being uninvited, I found out that he still wanted to keep the gifts people had already given him. He even mentioned needing help covering some of the wedding costs and asked if I could still contribute, despite not being invited. I was taken aback and felt it was incredibly rude. I told him I wouldn't be contributing anything. I feel like he can't expect people to support him financially while excluding them from a significant life event. Now, our mutual friends are divided. Some say I should have been more understanding, while others agree that it's unreasonable to expect support after uninviting someone. AITA for standing my ground and refusing to pay for the wedding.